Hello, Robins and Robinettes, Batmans and Batgirls, Supermans and Supergirls. We are looking now at DC Legends and the July sign-in rewards. So we have 4 weeks and 2 days to earn all of this that you see here on this giant tic-tac-toe board. So we're starting off with 400 gems, and we are going to be going into Blue Beetle. So as we can see here, 510, we've got 15, we've got 25, we've got 40, 55, 75, 100. So we will have 100 Blue Beetle bios, fragments, whatever you want to call them, throughout the month of July. So I do believe we've got some new characters to look at. So let's go ahead and take a look. Sadly, so I was doing a node that was going to give me 5 Hippolyta fragments and then 5 more. And it was going to allow me to level Hippo up. So I was doing the fight, and I forgot what node it was. It was somewhere between 5 and 10. It was closer to 10. And I do know it was definitely one of the ones that gave like 10 fragments. So I wiped a few times. And generally it was wave 3. Just was absolutely beating the shit out of my team. Even with double support of like Zatanna and Ivy, I had issues. So I said, let me change this up a little bit, and I bumped up my Dr. Poison's power a little bit, and I brought her in for Dr. Poison. So I will show you the team that I had. We'll do Hero Challenge for now. And let's go here, we'll pick a battle. So this is the team that I went into that node with. And I mean, it was pretty solid. I was actually keeping them alive. And this time I wound up starting to lose things on the 4th wave because that Wonder Woman was just obliterating my team. I mean, she was like one-shotting them. So it eventually came down to Dr. Poison versus Hippo. And I was like, ooh, it's going to be one of us is going to get that last shot in. And she was really low, and Dr. P was really low, and it was so close that Dr. P wound up dying just before Hippo bled out, and I lost it. Unfortunately, just didn't really have the energy left, and was also at work at the time, so there was only so much I could do. So yeah, sadly, didn't get a chance to get some more Hippo fragments. I did, however, buy my way into Ares a little bit before his sale went off, just because I think he's kind of interesting. Let's see what today's Alliance mission is. Do a heroic campaign battles with Damaged Goods, Joker, Sinestro, Yellow Lantern, or Lex Luthor Assault Warsuit. That's kind of shitty. Looks like I will just be feeding some trashy ones there. And then Sunday, it's going to be upgrade event battles with Robin, Chemo, or Cheetah. So your red, your hero, your 2 villains, green and blue. I have all of them, and they're actually very, very solid, and they all kind of go together with the bleeds. But, okay, so let us take a look at the newest heroes that we've got. So I'll just go down through what's been happening with my roster. There's my Siren. There's my Broccoli. These two are in, like, everything. Zatanna, she's in everything for me, too. I recently bumped up Dr. Poison to try to help with that Hippolyta node. And she did better than Poison Ivy did for me. And you know, like I've been saying in some of the groups that I'm in Facebook, if you are facing very, very tough to kill mobs, be it in PvP or PvE, just like a super beefy, oh, excuse me, a super beefy mob, like you hit it and the damage just doesn't go anywhere, even if you're using the opposite class and you got the affinity bonus, bleeds, man. I'm telling you. 3 or 4 stacks of bleeds on somebody and you will have so much movement on their health bar. It's crazy and it's way more satisfying than even like a big cyborg hit. I mean, it's really nice. So my legendaries are Siren, Zatanna, Poison Ivy, Cyborg, Dr. P, which is a fairly recent one, Broccoli, Chumuk is getting close. Batman is in his last legs. Katana's in her last legs. Here's Wonder Woman Dodge. Doge. She was legendaried somewhat recently. Robin, I think, is going to be used for some of this new stuff over here. He's been up there. He's been like this for me for a while. It's funny how when you compare your progress to other people, sometimes you find out how radically different you are from others. I mean, everybody just has their own style to this game. I mean, my cheetah started off good, and then I kind of let her go flat, and then she got really popular, and a lot of people have legendary cheetahs. My Robin was good right from the beginning, was always very high stars, and now everybody's like, oh shit, I gotta get a good Robin. I kind of abandoned him, mine sucks. Superman. I would say he's probably worth bumping up at some point, but I never really see him used anywhere. Star Sapphire apparently makes a lot of people jealous. I don't know why people are like, oh man, you got a 3-star Star Sapphire. I wish I had that. I'm like, okay, I guess. Flash is ready to ding for my legendary quests. Hawk Girl was a recent addition. There's Hippolyta. She came so close. So very close. She just dinged recently, but I've never given her much thought. So here's who I don't have. The other two Batmans, oh, this one's close. You know, Bizarro was used for a alliance mission somewhat recently, and I was like, wow, that's annoying. I rarely come across Bizarro in anything, let alone actually earning him, and I have to, wow, alright, that sucks. So, alright, here he is. Here is Nightwing. He is a combat, or he's a red. It's still loading in some graphics over here. We'll get to see... Wow, that's a lot of gems. That seems... Huh. Bet you that's going to be expensive. Tumbling combo. Damage to an enemy. 50% chance to apply invisibility to one random teammate. So, again, he's already got synergy with Robin and the bats. Electrify Eskrima. Light damage to all enemies. Gain invisibility. That's pretty cool. Kind of looks like a less old Bizarro with that haircut. Heavy damage and call and assist, the Flying Grayson. Trapeze Artist passive ability. Nightwing is a 50% increased defense while he has evasion up or invisibility. That's pretty cool. That's very tanky. Increased defense and having increased defense while invisibility's up sort of means less than you think. It means it only is protecting against AoE or if he is the last person. But 50% increased defense while evasion, that's solid. Tag Team Fighter, Team Lead, 15% chance to use Tumbling Combo on a random enemy after a team member's turn if any team member is invisible. So that's this one over here. So if, wow, that's a positive feedback cycle. So tumbling combo actually gets fed by tag team fighter. So if he uses tag team fighter, or the passive goes off, and he uses tumbling combo, he makes somebody invisible, which has a chance to make tag team fighter proc. So that's what we call a positive feedback cycle. It's where, A feeds B, or however many points you have in the cycle, it can essentially feed itself. That's pretty cool. I kind of hate that when you're reviewing a hero, it brings you all the way back to the beginning of your list when you're done. Gets obnoxious. I always think that looks like Jessica Jones, honestly. Here we have Terra, the troubled Teen Titan. She's green. Stalactite Slam. Damage to a single enemy. Apply 5 evasion down to a target. Oh, by the way, she's not available yet. 5 evasions down. Holy shit. Nice counter to Huntress. Although Huntress is her counter class, but that's what leaps off the page at me. Siren when she gets her evasions up from bleeds, but I think Huntress is probably one of the biggest targets for that. Rock Solid, 9% shield and 1 agility up on all allies. I bet you shield lovers are just going to love that. And Tremor. Apply light damage and 1 evasion down to all enemies. So she's all about shutting down evasion-based heroes. Now, where I think that comes into play would be, say, like Poison Ivy setting up the taunt on Huntress after a bunch of her evasions are out. If you look at the history of RPGs, there has always been several styles of tanks out there in the world. If we were to take, say, World of Warcraft and Rift, you have health tanks or literal armor tanks, the plate classes, the heavy armors, the very high hit point pools, your Death Knights, your Warriors, your Paladins, and everything like that. And then you have evasion tanks, which has it sometimes been Druids, although, I mean, they kind of go back and forth between a hit point tank, but Druids used to be very, very high on dodge. Rogues were known to evasion tank if they proc their evasion, and maybe they're the last one alive just trying to get a boss kill in a raid or something. Rift very, very heavily had evasion tanks in the rogue class. You can take evasion up people in this and use Poison Ivy to make them have a taunt and this just tank through evasion, where just hopefully the hit doesn't happen. And I actually used that once or twice in the Hippolyta event where Siren had some sizable evasion ups and I made her tank to protect somebody else from dying. And it was kind of fun. Blue Beetle is the one I think a lot of us are interested in. I've heard he's anti-shield, so let's see what is his deal. Scarab Slash. Damage to an enemy deals 50% additional damage to shielded targets. Wow. They get right to it. No wonder he's being called anti-shield. It's like right there on the level 1. Could be very interesting in PvP. I mean, not that I say shields are so big in PvP, but I've seen it get up there a little bit on Wonder Woman Dodge. The Hal Jordans are going to have a major, major issue. I mean, I don't consider Green Lantern Hal Jordan that big of a threat when I see him on the field anyway. Because he stacks his shield so well, I tend to leave him for last, just because he's not as much of a threat as, say, maybe their healer or their bleeder or something. Scarab's Might. Gain strength up for every shielded enemy. Gain crit chance up for every unshielded enemy. That is a very interesting ability. That means you can kind of bring him anywhere. If they're shielded, oh well. If they're unshielded, fucking oh well too. I like it. Beetle Blast. Light damage to all enemies. Purge 1 buff per shielded enemy. Yeah, he really is anti-shield. Good God. If people start running him in their PvP teams, you're just gonna not want to bring anybody who has any kind of shielding. They might lose some critical buffs. Shield Breaker. Everything he does is a shield breaker, but okay. Passive ability. Whenever an enemy gains a shield, Blue Beetle has a 40% chance to gain 20% turn meter. That's ridiculous. I mean, if you have any shields on your team whatsoever, you are truly going to get punished for it. Carapace. Passive ability. The first time Blue Beetle falls below 30% health, gains a 40% shield. Hell, it's even risky to have a Blue Beetle on your defensive team if that passive procs, because now you might potentially feed an enemy Blue Beetle. But then again, the enemy Blue Beetle could feed your own, so... very, very interesting. Let's see what's going on in the Alliance Mission rewards here. Anything... They skimp on this some days. It's like, hey, where's the... Oh, well, they doubled up, apparently. No, that's... Maybe it was a tournament. Alright, well, let's see what the shop has got going. Jesus Christ, $100 to earn a legendary Nightwing. Now, that is a lot of gems, though. Let's be frank. I mean, that is the biggest gems we've ever seen. And, I mean, it is a much, much better deal, obviously, than just the gems alone. Because you are essentially getting a instant legendary character. You're not spending any of the gems to do it, and you're getting the $100 worth. Yeah, that's really nice. For 8K, and as we know, 8K is, it's a little under 40. I think we're basically going to say that it's been essentially $35 worth. So 4.6, 4.6. It's 9.2 over there, so that's 9.2 for 40. Maybe it's close to like 30 bucks. However, if we add this 20 and this 10, we're not there. So, you know, actually, wow, I just realized how greedy that is. So, 2 of these take you up to 9,200, okay? So many heroes in the game are 8K that you always wind up with this 2.2K left. But you can't get in that range if you pay the appropriate amount. So if we're going to estimate it's about, say, $30 to $32 to get just a flat 8K, here's 4.6, 2.2. That's only 6.8 for $30. So it forces you into spending the $40 to get any hero out of your own pocket at times. And you wind up with extra. This is an issue that first cropped up in Battleborn when they started introducing the microtransactions. You could never really get a purchase that took you just right to the thing you wanted. You were always a little under or a little over. Now this one is 9.5. We're short on the 220s there. So that almost kind of buys you, it makes you think about, well, I'll get the 50 then. And now you're paying $10 more, and you've got a bunch of gems left over. See here, 9K, like this is the closest. Anybody who's 9K probably is the closest to just taking enough of your money and not leaving you with a whole lot of, you know, leftovers. Or you could get a purchase that's closer, but it keeps coming in under. Alright, let's see what's going on with social today. Superman, Joker. I think I will get the Joker ones, not Superman. Mostly because Superman is so far away, I just feel like it's a drop in the bucket. I will, you know what? I will do a arena pack and see what I get. Because I'm at 1.4. Okay. I'm kind of happy with Cheetah. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of complaints like, can we get Cheetah out of a lot of our spinners lately? Mostly because of the fact that people just have so much for her, but I'm still kind of working her, so... what's cool is this is not a resets every day. That's pretty nice. So I will take my number 2 team, back everybody out, and see who is available for the quest. Any team size, limited heroes. My marked people don't own any of the like Terra. That's another complaint people have had about this game. When somebody is, you get a bonus for somebody who's not even possibly available. And I think, let's see, Zatanna's not allowed. Wow, the healing's going to be a little rough on this one. I think Dr. P's going to be doing a lot. I think I will go with Cyborg for the buff leadership. Her. Does she have a leadership? I can't remember if she does. When Wonder Woman gains a taunt from Defender of the Week, gain a light heal and other teammates receive. Okay, sure. See, I could go Cyborg for turn meters if people are buffed. But I wouldn't mind seeing that. So I'll start off with this. Looks like Raven might have to be my healer for this if need be. Again, not really too sure what people like about Star Sapphire so much. I mean, maybe because she gets 2 single target heals for the price of 1, where she heals herself for healing others, so that means you don't have to make a choice, but... Nightwing, I'm glad to see your monitors, blah blah blah, still monitoring, blah blah blah, teammates are fine, Necron, what do you mean we? What do you mean you people? Uh-oh. Deathstroke and... Whew. Damage to an enemy, copy 1 buff on self to teammates. We don't have any buffs. We'll go invisible. So I had a glorious Poison Ivy copy either late last night or early this morning. My Broccoli gave himself his death immunity, and Poison Ivy came up right after, and Poison Ivy copied the death immunity, or more than just the death immunity, the full immunity, and it went out on the entire team. So the entire team, 4 people, were immune. Loved it. Screenshotted it, posted it to some one of the groups that I'm in. I was like, hey, this is why you can't sleep on Poison Ivy. Look at the synergy she has. Slade Wilson. I always think that this one is the AoE, but it's the Amazonian strength that is. 6-round cooldown. See, that move right there that she just did, that was like one-shotting my team when they got there in that 4th wave. Probably... Yeah, she doesn't strength ups. Dr. Poison is one of my hidden gems. I mean, I think people are now kind of beginning to realize how good Poison Ivy is. But I think people are really not going to understand how potentially good Dr. Poison is until some time goes by. And if Blue Beetle runs shields out of the meta, maybe the meta will switch to bleeds. I think bleeds are good in a shield meta because of the solid damage that they do. But, unlike other games, bleeds do not go through shields. Meaning, if you are heavily bleeding but you're shielded, it chews up the shields, not the hit points underneath the shields. Which I kind of don't really agree with, but okay. I really shouldn't even waste time buffing on these. It's just, it's fun. So that's what Dr. Poison was doing for me over there. She was just laying out those AoE bleeds. Siren was exploiting them. If a lot of bleeds were out and somebody needed a big heal and Zatanna couldn't do it or couldn't do it well enough, she was right there to be like, hey, I got your back, bud. Alright, well, that is about it for the July update over here. Unfortunately, we're having one of those days where you have to choose between, you know, are you doing your dailies or are you doing your hero challenge? Now, if you have multiple play sessions available to you during a day, it is easy to pull that off. Especially like when you go to bed and wake up, your energy's pretty much going to be recharged. But it's tough. If you only have one play session per day, and you know you're trying to keep up with alliance missions, especially when you have relatively easy alliance missions, and you want to make up for days where maybe you're shit, like the upgrade days or the PvP days, so you kind of go balls out on a more normal day. Yeah, it's kind of crap to have to make that decision of one or the other. I think I'm gonna give her a little bit of love. I'm kind of tempted to put her in for PvP and see what happens, but I feel at this point she's so popular, people are probably coming up with very good counter strategies for her. Can't wait to see what Ares is like. Don't run into him much in PvP. I know he likes stuns and he likes enrages. Maybe could go well with Hawk Girl or something. She likes her stuns too. I think I saw an event where Champion of the Amazons Wonder Woman was needed for the day, and I'm like, wow, that's fair. You're gonna make people use the pre-order character or the pre-register character to do your alliance missions? That's kind of shit and cheap. Maybe I was wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was her. It only happened once, so. Alright, guys, there's the July update. Let me know what you think. Do you think Blue Beetle will be showing up in PvP to force shields off the table? Sort of the way back in MAA, Quicksilver forced infiltrators off the table and such? And what do you think about the fact that Terra is a hero challenge person, but you can't even get her? And also, let me know if you're doing anything in the shop for any of these. I just got Ares in a rather expensive manner, so I don't think I want to go for anything right now, but I gotta tell you, man, unlike Marvel Avengers Alliance, there is always something in DC Legends that tries to open your wallet and pry money out of it. It is like the Steam sale, the summer Steam sale. Once every half to 3/4 of a week. I feel like you could go broke just trying to keep updated with this game. And you're like, oh man, I'd have to spend 8,000 essences to get him. Well, there's 40 bucks down the tube, blah, blah, blah. I just feel like this game never calms down with things that you can spend your money on. And that's something that at least MAA did. I mean, you could go through about a solid month. Pretty much the gap between gold sale with weapon, month after month. That kind of gap. I like that. This game, it's like every day, man, I come to the shop and be like, wow, I would love to get that. I'd almost be tempted to spend money on that. Fuck it, I'm spending money on this thing. Killer. Absolutely killer. Maybe could have saved some money and done a big purchase, not with Ares, but with the Nightwing stuff. But I don't know. I'll see. It just depends on if Nightwing is better than Ares. Peace out, everybody. Have a good one.